All right, so originally I wasn't real sure whether I was going to show you, gardening videos, but I do video the stuff I do every day. And this is what I did yesterday, trying to reclaim this garden because it's rained a bunch. And I see that there's still some weeds that need to be knocked out, so I'll have to go back and do that. But we'll talk more about that right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man. And yesterday, when I started, this was really pathetic. It's still kind of pathetic, but we've probably had 3 inches of rain since this was planted, and stuff just did not come up. So I ended up starting over on a bunch of it. This corn, I bet it's doubled in size since even yesterday. But I'm gonna have to go in and get rid of some more weeds, which have also come back around since yesterday. So we'll explain more of that in the clips that you see. It rained overnight really too much as well. I'll show you. I just happened to see that I forgot to take this pan in. So I would say that there's probably about 3/4 to an inch of rain, maybe, if that's accurate. So yeah, I'm hoping that this comes up this go round and we don't have to do it a third time. But I don't know that the video clips are real clear on what's happening, but originally I had a couple rows of onions, and then I had a couple rows of green beans. I might have had 3 rows of green beans. I can't remember. No, I had 3 rows of onions, 2 rows of green beans, and those 2 rows of corn. And pretty well the only thing that came out of it decent was those 2 rows of corn after cleaning them out. Because like I said, it was muddy every day, and here you couldn't really even work. So the weeds kind of got away from me too. And it's going to need another go around after this rain. The onions were a disappointment. There's just a few here and there. Some of them are real little, just starting. So I'm going to not totally destroy this yet. I'm going to give it a little bit more to see, and I'm also going to get some new sets and redo that. But anyway, take a look at these clips. You can see how we got to this point, and then we'll discuss some more. All right, this sad little patch here is in fact my garden, and I had it looking pretty good. And then it rained almost every day, and some of the stuff did not come up. So I'm gonna have to what am I gonna have to do? Basically start over. But I'm gonna have to till it up first, or at least till through the rows and see what I can save. There is some corn that came up, as we can see. I left enough room where you could get a tiller down the rows, so I can do that. However, my next rows of stuff I don't think came up at all. There's supposed to be some green beans here. I don't remember what I did, 2 rows of those maybe, and then there were like 3 rows of onions, and out of that I see like a couple here and there and yonder. So kind of a fail, I think. Just too much rain on top of stuff, but that is neither here nor there. The first thing I need to do is till this up. There hasn't been a dry enough day to even do that, and this is what's grown up since then, all these weeds. So I'm going to till it up, and then, or at least down my rows, and then we'll assess the situation further. But I'm afraid that I'm going to be replanting most of everything, because it doesn't look like anything came up other than the corn. So sure. All right, tiller. It's easier to drive it out of here, so that's what we'll do. It should start. Now, come on. All right, let's see what happens. There's a few more in there than I thought. Yeah. Boy, there's just not that much. Just too much rain at once. And I hate to do much more to that because they might come up. I don't know. You never know. But I don't even know where to jump to here. I see a few beans here and there, but not a lot. Not a lot. I may just end up getting rid of all that and start over. Sad, really. There's a few in a row. I love this tiller. This is one of the few things I bought brand new. See, I got a flat tire. I could probably air that up again. Or I could just keep on until sadness happens, but no, I think I'll get the little air inflator and air those up. But yeah, that's been a good one. Honda engine, no trouble at all. I mean, sits there forever and then starts right up. So definitely was worth the money. But yeah, this is a sad little patch. I mean, so I'm gonna get that air inflator, then we'll continue on our way. Part of what I'm trying to do here now is I've had all these, see, in the house so that they didn't freeze because it was still getting to be cold at night. So it's time to put them in the ground. We'll just do it and see what happens. All right, so what did we learn today? Well, if you're sailing along in the little Cushman at about 40 miles an hour and you hit a piece of firewood, you will get stuck. it will run you aground and you won't be able to do anything. So great. But I got it loose. That's all that matters. Sure. I think this has tubes. No, I guess not. I guess I never put tubes in it yet. But it needs them. That's the oddity of this air inflator. If you set it to low, it doesn't run fast. I'm gonna stop with that. Sure. Oh, and this is the one. Somehow or another, the valve stem is on the back side of this one. I don't know if they only made one kind of wheel. But that's not really that handy, is it? That's okay though. We like a struggle. Will you run now? Yep. Let's go over here to where we can actually see something. Yeah, it just don't look hardly worth saving, does it? What a shame. All right, basically we started over, but that's okay. I planted 2 more rows of corn here and 2 rows of beans out there to use up some of that old seed, because I think that was a big part of my problem. That seed was not from this year. So out of this row of beans, I saved 2 plants. So I just went ahead and planted a different variety in this row. And then I got my cabbage here with my rickety fence to keep rabbits off of it. But in this little half of a row, I got the rest of those beans like I planted out there to use them up. If they come up, good. If they don't, we'll do something different there. But I got my tomatoes in here, and I got some peppers down there. I used the cages just to help keep them corralled when they start producing stuff. I don't know if that'll be the way to go or not, but we're gonna try. And then my sad collection of onions here. I don't know. Just about need to start over on them too, but I'll have to get more sets when I'm in town and see what happens. There's a few coming up here, but not very many. I mean, like in this area here, it's kind of sparse. There's one. And then There's a few that kind of went above and beyond already, but basically that was kind of a failure. But again, I think it had to do with 3 inches of rain being dumped on it in the last few weeks. And that kind of, they did not like that thing, you know. There are little bitty ones coming up, but I don't know. We'll let it hang this time. I'll get some more stuff and we'll see what happens after this next round of rain. Maybe they'll grow a little more and we can see what our situation is, but probably just do a lot of that over too, or maybe I can go around it and, you know, make that happen somehow. But yeah, progress is made, and at least these are out of the bathtub, so I don't have to keep watering them by hand and, you know, dealing with that. So I don't know, we'll see. The corn will come up, I'd say, because that all came up. And then our beans, who knows? I planted them a lot thicker this time, so maybe I would get some. I can always thin them down, but time will tell. It has to come up first, and then we'll figure out how to cook it. So, sure. All right, so as you saw in that, like I said, those onions we'll deal with later. After this rain, everything kind of grew, so we'll know more, and then I'll add some onions to it or whatever I got to do. These all look like they survived the first night. There's tomatoes and peppers and different stuff. Cabbage in here, it looks like the rain was not its friend. It kind of pounded it into submission, so I'm hoping that that comes out of that. I don't know. Time will tell on the green beans. Like I said, there's a half row back there, and there's a row here to line up with the 2 plants I saved. But like I said again, we're gonna have to get rid of some more weeds because they pretty well came up overnight also. And these 2 rows of corn, pretty good. I think we'll have us something there. I planted 2 more rows of corn right there and right there. See, I left enough room that I could get the tiller through there probably almost twice in some places the way it came up, but with the idea that when the plants, not so much corn as other things, but when they start to spread out, they're going to take, you know, kind of a tiller's width on their own, so you would still have one pass down in between everything you could get to. And that was my thinking there. So that's why if you see it and you think, oh, that's so wide, well, as the plants grow, I want to still be able to easily take the tiller through without hitting anything, and I can always finish the rest off by hand. But anyway, 2 rows of corn. There's 2 more rows of beans in here that once that seed's done, if it doesn't come up, at least I'm rid of it because it's probably getting too old or something. And then there's some blank space we can do something with, but I did end up planting a row of potatoes over here. And there's 2 different kinds. There's some of the Yukon Golds, and there's some of those, I don't remember what the name is, the red ones. I don't know if they're called Heritage Reds, but there's a row there. We'll see how that turns out. I was going to experiment and do those potato tower things, and I just never had time to get that far. So like I said, we'll let this rain pass us by, and hopefully in the next week we'll be able to see what came up out of this go round, and hopefully we'll have some dry enough days where we can actually work in here again and get stuff done. Because yeah, I don't like to see it grow up in weeds, but if it's a muddy mess, I can't really do a lot about it. That just causes us more sadness, you know. But I'm kind of bummed that I missed some of those. Must have stood back up or something, because yeah. But I got a few onions. I'll add a few more to it and we'll figure it out. But there's some little ones in there coming up, so there's a new one. So maybe they were just slow about it, and maybe more will come into it. But at least we got some stuff we can munch on, hopefully this summer. There it is. What am I trying to say? Well, there's nothing quite like the feeling in the summertime where you can eat a whole meal that you grew yourself. you know? I don't want to pull that onion out. There's an onion right next to that. But if you know, you know. It's kind of rewarding in the summertime, especially if you butcher your own meat as well. Then you can, in fact, eat a whole meal that you raised yourself. And we have done that many times before. And yeah, that's just kind of a nice thing. Plus, it's also delicious. Much better than stuff you would get in the old store. So yeah, I know I'm gonna get covered with mud, but I can't handle the few little stragglers here. Just to get rid of them. And I'm no gardening expert. I don't have patience. That's probably my biggest flaw with this process. There's a piece of metal. My job was just running the tiller, and Grandpa took care of the planting, and Grandma took care of the fixing it into food. But now, I guess I get to do it all, so I'm gonna have to learn some skills, I guess. But my biggest frustration all the time was that if he would plant it, he wouldn't leave enough room when it grew, and you'd always be, yeah, when you would go to till it finally, when stuff would grow, it would be miserable because you couldn't hardly get through it without knocking stuff down. And so on and so forth. Yeah, I'm gonna cause more harm than good by being in here right now, so we'll just let it go at that. Probably not a very interesting video, but like I said, something I do every day. That's part of it. And that was yesterday's project, was trying to reclaim what I'd already done. And I talked to other people, and I think they're kind of in the same boat around here. They kind of had to start over as well. You just can't help it when you get too much rain, you know. So that's how she goes. But I don't know that this is something that I really want to video a lot of, but as the weather's getting wet all the time, I'm running out of stuff to video easily, you know. I've got a lot of projects to do, but they're a lot more involved, and then that takes a lot of time to also edit videos. And so yeah, anyway, I guess we'll call this one here. Not that it's that fascinating, but part of life. It's my belief that every person should have a garden of some variety, and you should raise some of your own food, whether you live on a quarter-acre lot in town or whatever. You should be able to raise something for yourself, and you know, that's the way the world should be. Everybody should be able to produce a little bit for themselves, and then, you know, maybe you're not good at growing everything, but maybe you can grow one thing and trade the extra to somebody who has something else, where you can get a whole meal, you know. That is my vision for society, but I'm pretty sure that our skill set is probably not there anymore, you know. We waited too long. A lot of people waited too long, where the older people who knew how to do everything are now gone, and people are going to have to figure it out. That is, I think, why there's such a trend with this homesteading deal, where everybody's into that. And that is because they realized, you know, you shouldn't be dependent on the grocery store for everything. You should be able to do it yourself. And everybody acts like that homesteading is such a new idea or a new trend. It's not. It's just the way everybody used to live, and people got away from it. So yeah, I support people who do that, because I think that that's important. I can't feed every person on earth by myself, so, and neither can the rest of the world's farmers either. There's only so much you can do. But if everybody would just do a little bit, you know, even if it saves you half a dozen meals or so, that's half a dozen less you had to go to the store to, you know, buy. And this is healthier for you because, you know the whole process that it went through from in the ground to on your plate. So whatever, I'm gonna get off my soapbox about that. Like I said, I'm not into necessarily making videos about this kind of stuff, but because I'm sure everybody will have an opinion on how I'm doing it wrong, but that's the way I do it, and that's the way it's going to be. Do you suffer from low intelligence and are easily entertained? Well, then hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment, and that way we can keep making entertainment that your feeble minds can understand. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.